For millennia, empires have depended on a steady flow of wealth to fuel their expansion, military power, and cultural influence. But what happens when the very system meant to build an empire starts to destroy it? From the bustling marketplaces of Mesopotamia to the tax collectors of Rome, taxation has been at the heart of every civilization. But for every empire that thrived from taxes, there was one that fell victim to it. Today, we dive deep into the hidden world of ancient taxation and explore how taxes built and ultimately tore down the wealthiest empires in history. Let's go back to the beginning. Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, was the birthplace of the world's first tax systems. As cities grew and kings sought control, they needed a way to collect wealth from their subjects. Taxation was their answer. Early taxation in Mesopotamia was simple, yet brutal. The king would demand grain, livestock, and gold from farmers who had no choice but to give up their resources. Failure to comply meant severe punishment, often a slave sentence, or worse. Taxes were recorded on clay tablets and were essential for funding the king's palaces, his military campaigns, and even grand religious temples. But this system of forced wealth extraction came with consequences over time. The weight of these taxes led to resentment and rebellions. Fast forward to the glory of Rome. Here, taxation evolved into a far more sophisticated system. Instead of relying solely on agricultural goods, Rome introduced a monetary tax system that stretched across their vast empire. Roman taxes were vast and varied. They taxed everything from land and property to sales, inheritances, and even pollution. The most famous of all, the census tax, required citizens to register their wealth, and this helped fund Rome's expansionist wars and monumental public works projects. Rome's tax system was brutal. It suffocated the very people it was meant to protect. Merchants were taxed heavily, while wealthy landowners could easily evade taxes, creating a growing gap between the rich and poor. This caused an increasing number of tax riots throughout the empire. We've seen how Mesopotamian and Roman taxation systems impacted their people, but I want to hear what you think. Do you believe taxes were necessary for these empires to thrive, or did they go too far and begin to destroy them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss how taxes shaped not just ancient empires, but our modern economies. As Rome grew, so did the burden of its taxes. By the 4th century AD, the Roman Empire was faced with increasing tax revolts. Citizens were fed up with high taxation, and the taxes that were supposed to fund the empire's expansion were now draining the lifeblood of the people. To make matters worse, corruption ran rampant. The tax collectors, who were supposed to be the empire's enforcers of wealth, often pocketed part of what they collected. This widespread corruption undermined the empire's very foundation, contributing to its eventual collapse. And with the collapse of Rome came the collapse of the taxation system itself. The empire that once thrived on gold-backed wealth crumbled under the pressure of its own financial mismanagement. While the ancient empires may have fallen, the lessons they leave behind are still relevant today. The way they taxed their citizens and used wealth to fuel empire-building mirrors many modern financial systems. Even today, taxation remains a critical part of any government strategy to maintain power and finance infrastructure. But with increasing inequality, corruption, and tax avoidance, are we repeating the same mistakes as these ancient empires? Could the pressure of unfair taxation lead to the fall of modern empires, much like Rome? And, more importantly, are we heading towards another economic collapse due to financial mismanagement? If you found this journey through the history of taxation and its impact on empires as fascinating as I have, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive into history. If you want to explore more about how wealth and taxes shape the world, make sure you're part of the conversation by commenting below.